Welcome in everybody to another edition of Friday Night Review. I am Scalz, and I am joined by the one that calls himself the Sultan Vince Russo, Cam. How we doing?
Pretty good, man. Another great episode of Friday Night Smackdown. Like I said, they're definitely keeping the energy up for going into SummerSlam and of course Money in the Bank. So I'm liking it. We've had two solid weeks of WWE programming.
This has to be probably I would want to say, most complete episode of SmackDown I've watched in a long time. How it went from top to bottom. There really was not much that you can take away from this show that wasn't something that involved a storyline in some way, shape, or form. What's going on, Virgo? How are you doing tonight? Right? Am I wrong in saying that?
Oh no, for sure, absolutely. They're definitely very focused on keeping their storylines in check, and I appreciate that. So like I said, they're definitely keeping the energy going into Money in the Bank.
So, first things first, we need to talk about this ending of the show. I cannot go the entire show without going to this first. What a god Paul Heyman is.
Yes.
Like, that's it. There's nothing else really to say. This guy is a national treasure. His facial expressions, everything he has done to leading up to this point, the way he's not shaving, his hair is turning gray again. Like he always gets so into it. And then, man, this guy took bumps. Like, when was the last time we saw him put through an announce table?
A while. It's been a while since we've seen him take a bump at all, period.
And it wasn't even just being put through an announce table. He was shield bombed through the table.
Yes.
And I love all these little nuances they're doing to not necessarily, I don't want to say put away from Roman Reigns, but more antagonize Roman Reigns with everything. Yeah, I know. Shadow, you didn't let me finish everything. And I didn't even see your tweet, so I don't even know what you're talking about. I haven't even been on Twitter. All I did was post and came here.
I never go on Twitter, so I don't.
That's awesome that if you said that, because that means that we're right here on the same mind length. But still, like, you didn't text me anything. So you baited me, you jerk. But so what did you think of that final segment, the Bloodline acknowledgement ceremony?
It was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Initially I was confused because I was like, wasn't Jacob supposed to be in this? But then of course he didn't. He then came out. And I love the way they played into that too, because over the course of the night they said that he wasn't in the ring, he wasn't in the building, he wasn't in the arena, and I was like, wait a minute, he's a brand new member. How can he not be in this segment? So I love how they highlighted him and they introduced him into the Bloodline. Love his entrance. I mean, the dude just looks menacing. He just looks like a dude you do not want to mess with at all. So love the way they brought that in him.
Top 3 entrance in WWE right away.
For sure.
Like, that just, he should be the leader of the Bloodline with that. Because the whole thing with everybody's like, oh, Solo, he's not proven himself as a tribal chief. Like, this Bloodline is not doing anything. Jacob Fatu looks more menacing than him, everything else. And it's like, today was a little bit different because Solo pulled all the stops today.
Yeah.
He had Heyman thinking this was for him tonight. He said, I listened to you. Jacob isn't here tonight. Like, I am listening to you, my wise man. Tonight's about you becoming my wise man. And then I just love everything you're doing.
Yeah, I said, there was a massive pop when Paul was like, I acknowledge the fact that you're not my tribal chief. That pop was insane. That was crazy. That might be top 3, top 5 biggest pops all year. That was insane. I did not see that coming for that big of a pop. But then, like I said, you talked about Paul taking bumps. He not only got put through the announcer table, but he took a flying headbutt from Jacob Fatu as well. So, like I said, he took a couple bumps.
And he took the spike.
Yeah, and he took the Simone spike. So,
his name was supposed to be Caesar Fatu. I'm glad they decided against that. And keeping it Jacob Fatu. It just fits him. If I was you, Shadow, I would be excited for next week, getting to be at Smackdown, then Money in the Bank. Like, both of these shows are going to be great. I really, when Heyman was answering, I really wanted to say, I wanted him to go, I acknowledge Roman Reigns is my tribal chief. Like, that's what I wanted him to say.
Yeah.
Because that crowd would have went even more crazy for that. Yeah. Especially if they would have right after that had his music hit. Like,
that'd been wild.
I know with everything that happened this week, he probably was not going to be there. But that would have been epic if he showed up. I really thought we were going to get Jimmy Uso tonight, though, in this segment. I thought he was going to come out and be like the fourth member of KO, Randy, and Cody. But they started off the night with that instead. Which was a different open. Like, that was a cool open how they did that tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. They started off, not how they normally do. So, yeah, interesting opening.
Yeah, you had the first black SUV pull up, and it was the Bloodline. Paul Heyman was standing there waiting for him. And then you had a second one pull up behind him as they're walking out to the ring. So I thought it was pretty interesting. And then the good guys refusing to get out of the ring, and Nick Aldis having to get both security and the police to get him out of the building. Kind of a bit of
pure chaos.
So, but yeah, anything else you want to touch on this Bloodline segments?
Other than the fact that I basically said it. I basically said they were going to eventually turn on Paul. And then I'm curious to see as who they appoint, if anyone, as the next wise man. I'm assuming. I feel like maybe they bring in. I don't know. I think this is where The Rock comes in. Maybe. Or maybe I think you even said it. Maybe like Rikishi. I don't know, but I would assume they find a replacement for Paul Heyman.
That right there could be a good one. Rikishi being the wise man, for this Bloodline, and then Paul Heyman goes to the other side when Roman gets back.
Yeah, I think Paul plays a vital role in getting the Usos back together.
I think
that's what I think. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think once we get through Money in the Bank, I think that's we're going to start to see that start to take shape.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested to see where that goes. I am very interested to see when Roman comes back. I love how Solo is leaning into this, that Roman's not coming back. He had his beads, like all the little Easter eggs they were doing throughout this week, last week. It's just like, it's definitely keeping me interested and want to see what happens next.
Absolutely.
This is the storytelling that we have missed for the last 10 or so years. Like, this is what was missing from WWE.
Yeah.
This is how you build viewership. This is how you get people to come back. And now people are going to talk about this and they'll want to tune in next week.
Yep.
And it's like, they're so good. So good with this.
Yeah, like I said, this is what's been missing. Like you said, a lot of people were complaining about that. Just even 4 or 5 years ago, that there's no like long-term stories. There's not anything to really sink your teeth into. And since this whole Bloodline saga from the beginning has just been interesting, and it's been something that people have come back and wanted to see, even if they have complaints of like, oh, Roman's been champ too long or whatever, you still tune in because it's the most interesting thing going on, you know. Now I guess now you have the Wyatt Six, and you just have all these different pieces. To the Judgment Day, the Liv Morgan situation. You have all these different storylines even outside of this that are just making people want to tune in. That's how you bring back viewership. That's how you get new viewership too.
And this is the perfect thing. Shadow said, "This excites me for next week." Shadow, the person who
Always
says
says
wrestling sucks every single week,
Yeah.
is excited for next week to watch and see what happens. Oh, I wasn't waiting to get into that. That was that's the best part of the show.
The only other thing I would add to that was the fact that after they put Paul Heyman through the table, you saw Jacob Fatu finally put the beads over Solo Sikoa. So
And
there
then
you
then Paul Heyman got wheeled out on a stretcher at the end. They didn't
Yeah.
show that on TV though. Sure.
Yeah.
But is there anything else we want to touch base on before we head on out?
I think that's it.
Will's giving us a rundown of what's on TNT tonight. Ocean's 8. Is that the first?
Is that the first one? I think it's the first one.
I thought the first one was Ocean's 11.
I think Ocean's 8 is the first one.
But all right, Cam, where can everybody find you?
Well, you can find me right here on the network every single Friday night on Friday Night Review with Scalz. And then if we have a third, if we don't have a third, every single Friday night. And then, of course, on our sister page on Rivet City Radio every single Monday night on the table spot immediately following Monday Night Raw. And then right there again on Rivet City Radio every single Wednesday night with The Boom with myself, Metalcore Mike, and, of course, Phil Kahn after AEW Dynamite. And then on the socials, you can find me on Twitter. Well, first of all, you can find me on TikTok at Cam's Wrestling Corner, and you can find me on Call Me Cam G. I have a lot, and then Cam's Square Circle Mania, and then you can find me on my other socials on Twitter at Cam and Cheese 317. And if that does not sizzle your bacon, you can find me on Instagram at 317 Bacon Eggs and Cam.
I am Scalz. You can find me here on Off the Top Media on both Twitch and YouTube, as well as Off the Top Media _ on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. I host Friday Night Review with Cam every Friday night, and NXT on Tuesdays. We do NXT on Tap with myself, Jax, and Phil. In the fall, we are going to be bringing back Ringside Chatter, which is our podcast that we talk about hockey. So if that's something you like, make sure you subscribe now, so this way you get the notifications when that does come back. If you like all the stuff here, make sure you like them, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Help us get our algorithms out there. Help us get new listeners. Help us continue to grow. We are on the way to trying to being able to monetize on YouTube. We are about 1,000 hours away in watch time. So I would appreciate it if people can go out there and watch some of our videos. We'll like it. Thank you very much. That being said, I want to thank everybody for stopping by tonight. I hope you have a great evening, and we'll catch you all soon.